doing? Moose news for April, May. It's this lockdown. I've lost track of not only which day it is, which month it is now. We're still in lockdown. We're still not ringing, but there's still news to be had. And we will have a quick look and quick think about one or two things. Got bored, looked at the bell trade. Computer's not on, so we've got no distractions. And I was looking at their websites. What have we got? We've got Isaac O'Shea, new boy on the block. His website is basically Facebook. Like the rest of them, he's probably not doing very much work at the moment because, well, we're in lockdown. Wash your hands. Oh, wash your hands. Hope you would. Yes. One thing that really stuck out is he seems to be specialising in clappers. But they're yellow. At long last, somebody has had the guts to actually use bright and cheerful colours in the bell chamber. Well done, Isaac. He deserves support, even if only for that. I've told you the story before about how I wasn't allowed to do someone's clappers fluorescent pink, but well, yeah. Hopefully, Isaac's going to break. Oh, excuse me. Hopefully, Isaac is going to break the mould on that one. Then I went on to Nicholson Engineering. It's powered by Weebly, and this is going to be pretty much the theme for most of the websites. No mention of our present predicament and its effect on the trade. Moved on to Whites. No mention of our predicament and its effects on the trade, and bits of it didn't work. Of course, there's no updates because nobody's being able to work. Moved on to the next one, Taylor's, I think it was. That's just huge. It's just such a huge big site. It's almost impossible to find your way around quickly. It's impressive, but it's big. Then we moved on to TLB. No mention of our predicament, blah, 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 blah. And bits of it didn't work. That was really disappointing because some of Tom's woodwork is absolutely stunning and the pictures weren't working. And then moved on to Matt Higby's. Matt Higby is redesigning his site. And it's pretty well complete. And it's actually a very good website. Maybe other people in the trade should look at Matt's website and say, yeah, okay, that's the way to go. In that style. Not, don't copy it in its entirety. That would be boring. But in that style. Which actually pretty much TLB and the other one, Whites, probably would be if they weren't working. They might be today. I'll check later. Given that we can't do anything, that's about it for bell trade. So where do we go from there? Well, what are the brats up to? Oh, I'm sorry. What are the young ringers up to? Dylan Thomas, Kiwi bell ringer. He's won an award for being a clever youth at ringing and doing an awful lot in a very short space of time. Well deserved, actually. Very well deserved. Thomas Ashwin has come up with some grand scheme to make sound files of just about every bell in the UK for Able. I need a big hard drive, and yeah, I'll probably get involved in that at some point. That sounds like fun. Ringer Ollie has opened a Twitch account, and I'm going to have words with him. In fact, I'll have words with him now because I'm not going to be nasty, and it's kind of a warning to others. I tried watching his live stream last night and it's almost unwatchable, and it's not his fault. I will check again today, and hopefully it was just internet problems last night, but it was pretty much unstreamable, which is a shame because it looked like it could have been quite a fun video. I'll check again today and see what happens. And Twitch, it's not end user friendly. It might be, I don't know what it's like as a content creator, but certainly as an end user, it's not particularly friendly. I will explore it further. I'm looking for alternative platforms to YouTube anyway. YouTube. Channel Moose has YouTube partnership. And we're making Some pennies a month. If you've got less than 20,000 subscribers, just dream of the future. What I have noticed is that the subscriber rate and the viewer rate has shot up since partnership arrived. The income from monetization is apparently slowly increasing, but it would take a very long time and many thousands of subscribers before you can consider it a living. It may happen one day. I'm not relying on it. Francesco is busy making piano arrangements, and on Scratch, which is a computer basic programming thing that they use in schools, Scratch, it's quite good. He's been creating lots of sort of pseudo simulator type things for Italian bells, and they're really quite fun. Worth looking at. If I had a link, I would pass it on to you, which means it might end up down below after Francesco has seen this video and screamed and shouted at me and finally sent me a link to his Scratch site. It could be something you want to play with anyway. Who have we been through? We've done Tom, we've done Ollie, we've done... Oh, Thomas is also doing a Tomoose news. I am aware, people have said, why haven't you killed him for it? Because actually it's incredibly funny and I'm not going to complain about it. So we've done Thomas, we've done Ollie, we've done Dill, we've done this other one, Francesco, sorry mate. Ringer Jake informs me that he is actually studying, and that he suddenly realised that Stedman is basically a 3-bell method with just loads of double dodges off you know, to make up the numbers. This is a major breakthrough, and I'm really pleased that Jake has come to this conclusion. And now, with a bit of luck, his ringing will progress rapidly once we get back into the tower, and he'll get to where he should be, rather than where, for any number of reasons, he's found himself stuck for so many years. I think that's about it for the sort of YouTube ringing fraternity, Discord ringing fraternity that I know. I can't think of anything else there. So we're going to change subject. Oh no, we're not. Simulators. Because I mentioned Francesco and his Scratch thing. Thomas and his plan to record, it's probably every bell in the world by the time he sees this. Yeah, great stuff. We've got Ringing Room to keep us entertained. There's another one. In fact, there's another two, but one of them I can't remember. There's another one called Singular. There will be a link down there because it was designed and built by a good friend of mine, actually, Josh Tratt, who some of you may have known, met, whatever, be friends with on Facebook. Josh wrote it, and he wrote it specifically with the intention of overcoming the delay in the internet, which is a bit variable depending on, you know, rate of usage, however it works, clairvoyance or something. It does do that, but it's very different to Ringing Room. It's a work in progress, so don't criticise it too harshly. I want people to really work on this one and try it and play with it and have good times and get somewhere with it, so we can develop it further. I'm feeding him ideas and feedback all the time. It does have different bell sounds. You're not stuck with the same ring. One's including Exeter Cathedral, which is down twice for some reason. Okay, and the other one is a thing I think called Ding, and you have to download something. Or didn't bother with that. Moving on, other areas of church, it's not just ringers that are suffering. A friend of mine is actually quite an accomplished recitalist. We're talking organs here. He has finally been allowed into church to turn on the blowers and blow some air through the instruments, but he's not allowed to play. Church of England logic astounds me, as many of you know. Sort of had problems with the Church of England for quite a long time, at least 20 years, and this one blows my mind. Live streaming of services from people's dining rooms and gardens. In one case, yes, we've seen mass in the garden. That was different. Thanks for bringing that one to my attention, Ollie. Please feel free to do it again. Tom Moose's dad is doing sort of 1-minute sermons, if you can find them, on Sundays, and they are brilliant because it's 1 minute and he can say an awful lot in 1 minute without speaking quickly. Example of really good preaching. Belfast Abbey are live streaming from within the Abbey itself. So I sort of thought, well, let's have a look and see what the rest of the world is doing. So of course I looked at Malta. Where else? And they're live streaming from the churches. Mass is still priest and somebody else dotted around somewhere at a safe distance. But they're using the buildings, and they have been right from the word go. Might be, well, actually one did have a choir in there as well. I don't know about that. But at least they're using the buildings and they're putting everything in the familiar context. They're not sat in an armchair with a boom mic wrapped around their head, pretending to be hip and trendy. And it's too much of it. The Catholic Church is keeping the sacred in its sacred place. They are more than capable of taking the sacred out into the community, but it's not something that you jump to the first excuse, any excuse not to use the sacred. Yeah, it's dropped out again. I'm going to show you everything. We have to do that for white balance, otherwise the colours look a bit weird or weirder. Now we're saying Catholic Church does not reject sacred buildings at the first opportunity. There is a separation between the sacred and the secular. There are ways of bringing the two together, but you don't reject one for the sake of the other. Going back now to organs, the Church of England won't let us in our churches. Yeah, these places have been empty for, I don't know, is it 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 5 years? I don't know how long we've been on lockdown. I've lost count. There's nothing in there. There is far safer than the supermarket at the moment. Nobody is allowed to enter the churches. It's particularly hard on the churches. There's something going on there. I can't be bothered to do a conspiracy theory, but yeah, it's weird. As I say, a friend of mine he's a recitalist. He can't practice. He's lost business because of this. A friend of his is also a recitalist of international fame, has been told, somebody who needs to practice daily, no, you can't enter your church. It's a big one. Very, very, very big church. No, can't practice. You sit out and play harpsichord. What it's doing to these guys' skill set, I don't know. They can't practice. You lose skills. I hate to think what my ring is going to be like when I finally get back into the tower. Probably no one will notice. Not allowed to practice. You're damaging their livelihoods. I don't understand the logic. Organs are very delicate instruments. It's not like bells. We can leave the bells for 6 months. Bells won't care. Hosanna's enjoying his rather extended siesta. Organs are very delicate instruments. There's a lot of moving, little tiny little moving parts in them. And I suspect, like a lot of things, if those parts aren't regularly moved, and that means not once every 6 months, if the instrument isn't played, they will rapidly deteriorate. At the end of all this nonsense, oh, wash your hands, by the way. I've got to, yeah, go and wash your hands. We'll wait. Should have done that during the outage, except I cut the... Go wash your hands, yeah, quickly. Yeah, all right. It just flashed up there. It's weird. Probably battery warning. It's fully charged. If they're not used regularly, I suspect they will deteriorate. I think at the end of this, the bell hanging industry will do some trade with people panicking about, oh, we haven't touched our bells for 6 weeks, they might fall apart. I think the organ trade is going to do a significant amount of work patching up instruments that simply haven't been used and are now full of dust and moths and bats, and the moths have been devouring bits and pieces, and the mice have had a nibble at bits and pieces, things that just aren't showing signs of ever being used, and the mice will come and, oh, it's been there like that, but it's beginning to rot now, we better eat it. You'll probably find quite a few dead mice where they've been eating through old cotton covered cable as well and finding the power's still on. That's going to be horrible. Poor little mice. Why we're like that, I don't know. I've heard the organ at Buckfast Abbey on live stream. I've heard organs in Malta on live stream, and in Europe they're doing live stream recitals. But the Church of England, oh no. Think about that. I think really deeply about that, because I'm going back to studying Polycarp in a minute. Think really deeply about that and think, why? And what does this say about the Church of England? And that's actually quite a long Moose News with an awful lot of waffle and not much news. But I hope it's given you lots of things to think about, and hopefully you'll go and try Singular. If anyone can tell me how to get my reluctant keyboards to talk to the computer, and don't say MIDI, I know, but it does it. One's not talking to, I don't know which way it is. One doesn't talk to the other, so I get even border now, because all I've got is the Apostolic Fathers to keep me entertained. If somebody can do that, then I'll join Francesco in making noises over the internet. And that's about it. Hopefully there'll be a more sort of noisy, hosanna-y, maybe Walbury type clanging Moose News in a month's time. If not, we will have a practical demonstration on how to wash your hands. Well, why not? We'll see you all again soon. Stay safe. Breathe through your nose. Remember, there are good times ahead.